once. We made it 17
We
episodes.
made it 17 episodes without this ever happening. Hi, everybody. We just did most of this episode,
We
and
didn't.
the file got corrupted.
We did not do most of it. We were like almost the end of the news. But I
Yeah.
mean, like we said, we went 17 episodes without
Yeah,
this
we went
happening.
17 episodes without this happening, which, considering the fact that neither one of us knew how to make a podcast when we started, like, that's pretty good.
What I would say, they didn't miss much. We just went through some of the news, which
Yeah.
we can whip through.
Which we can
So
whip
it's
through
probably-
again, because, like, yeah,
I mean,
there isn't a whole lot of news. I mean, you saw the podcast, you press play, you're looking at this. We hear you, we see you, listener. We know all. You know what we're doing. This is we went to the Pusha T concert this past Tuesday.
Yes,
That was the 7th, correct?
that was on the 7th, correct?
Yeah.
I was gonna say my coworker. I was literally at work on Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it was the day of, or maybe the day before. But my coworker was like, "Yo, Pusha T's coming into town," and I remember when he announced the tour, like we had brought it up very briefly, but we didn't really like go after it that much. But the tickets were only like $35, including fees, and it was at Radius Chicago on the south side.
Yeah, the Radius Chicago, South Side, right by Chinatown. Relatively newish venue. I mean,
surprisingly really nice.
Extremely nice, yeah. Very, very nice.
Yes. So I guess we'll just this episode we're gonna break down the concert, how we feel about the album, compare the live performance to the studio one, and just talk about Pusha T in general.
Yeah, we're just gonna be talking about that, the album, kind of everything involving that concert, because I think kind of like reviewing live shows, whether that be relatively mainstream artists like Pusha T or local artists, which is definitely something we have wanted to start doing, is getting our ear to the ground and start promoting and covering more local artists in our city. But I think it's going to come in the form of us talking about live shows. And so this is something we wanted to start. And we do have fairly mainstream tastes as well. So when someone who drops an album as strong as Pusha T did, we couldn't say no.
No, yeah, it was a perfect opportunity because we talked about it last week. We do want to see more local people. And to be honest, in my opinion, going to concerts like this, even though he's not necessarily a local, you still get openers and you get to experience more people from Chicago, whether it be the South Side, West Side, whatever it might be. So even that alone, we ended up seeing one or two openers there.
Yeah.
That were more Chicago based, and we kind of got to dive into them a little bit, and we'll talk about them as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think this would be.
It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. We were at a concert taking notes. Like,
actually, though, it's insane. But regardless of that, it was a really dope time. I think this would be a good introduction to a new segment. We have album deep dives. Now we can have concert breakdowns. So
yeah,
I think this would be a nice little introduction.
I agree.
I guess we can we could start off with the news again and start at the top.
Yeah, let's start at the top with the news. We got 3 albums coming out this week, 2 of which are re-releases: XXX's "Look at Me" and SZA's "Control Deluxe." And then we have NBA YoungBoy dropping "Green Flag Activity." So, Purvis, which one are you looking forward to the most out of these?
Out of all of these, probably the most excited for NBA YoungBoy. We've talked about it a couple podcasts ago. I didn't think I knew who he was at all, but I realized I've listened to actually a decent amount of his music. My expectations coming in were kind of low, so that probably helped. But I feel like in terms of some of the younger people, even though the theme is to be as hard as you can, some of the lyrics are actually pretty good. They're pretty impactful and pretty like meaningful, I would say, if he actually writes his own lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll be honest, I've heard NBA YoungBoy, and I liked it more than I thought I would. I'll say that. I don't know if I would call anything I've heard of his meaningful. I would just say it wasn't, it wasn't devoid of all meaning, like how some rappers who sound similar to him can. But like that's the name of the game. Like that's not necessarily that important.
That is also very true. And we've kind of we've had a very long ongoing debate of something somewhat familiar of like, would being a better lyricist for someone like, I don't know, Travis Scott actually impact his career? And we've talked about that extensively off the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like an ongoing conversation we have had. And
And
I
I
think
mean,
I'm on the side of yes. Uh,
and I am clearly a very strong Travis fan. He's one of my golden boys. So I don't I don't think it'll hurt, obviously, but like I don't listen to Travis for the lyrics necessarily. And so, like with NBA YoungBoy, there's going to be parts of songs or like certain lyrics or verses where I'm like, oh, this is meaningful. This goes hard. Like I can actually take this out of the song and apply it to life in some nature or form. But I'm mostly just there for the vibes. Let's be
yeah.
honest.
So I have a question for you. Like, how would you describe something that's like deep and substantive? Like, let's use like a much more obvious example. Let's use Kendrick Lamar. Uh,
Obviously,
you know,
I forget
but
where
like
it was
take
going.
something like Savior, right? That has like a lot of substance to it.
Okay.
Like what? How would you describe something like that versus something like a Little Wayne, like 6 foot, 7 foot, which there's no meaning there, but the
None.
lyrical wordplay in and of itself is like it's at a level that is as difficult, in my opinion, as putting something with that level of substance to it.
Like,
Like it's not an unskilled thing, right? To be able to put together metaphors and punchlines and all that stuff.
no, I'm
Even
about to
though,
say, like, we can't do it for sure.
yeah,
It is a talent in its own right.
yeah, but like, how do we describe like lyrics like that versus something that's a little bit more substantive or meaningful, which is the label I would put on the Kendrick Lamar side of the spectrum. But like,
I
how do you
mean,
describe like someone like Lil Wayne?
it's tough because at least in that example that you give, like 6 foot, 7 foot, like you said, the song it does not have some deeper meaning. It's just a really dope, hard song with really great metaphors, great verses.
Yeah,
The wordplay is insane.
yeah,
So, like that in its own right, it is its own skill. Not a lot of people can do it.
yeah,
It is amazing to listen to, but you know deep down, like it has its own place in the genre. In the same way with Kendrick, like Kendrick's deeper meaning, like I won't really hear Savior in the club. I don't think I would. And if I did, I'll probably like it, but I can guarantee you a lot of people around me are not gonna be like, oh, Savior's on.
yeah,
Whereas if 6 foot 7 comes on, everyone in there is going to be probably like know the lyrics by heart.
yeah,
So I think it deserves its own spot within the genre, and it is important to like pay attention to. But I think the difference between them, and it might just be the artists themselves and how the artist portrays itself, but like the themes itself are I won't say opposite, but like they aren't aligned. You can
yeah,
tell the difference. When you play 6 foot, 7 foot, you know what you're gonna get into. You know what you're gonna listen to. You're gonna want to hear that wordplay. You're gonna want to hear
yeah,
certain verses that kind of like tease your brain and make you think about it. But like if you listen to Savior, like you're sitting down with the Bible almost and like actually doing research.
yeah.
In my opinion.
And obviously, I think the best songs can do both.
Mhm.
Like Savior is probably like not the best example because like
It's still like a
it
party
it's
song
still
almost.
like it's a very enjoyable song. It's the kind of song everyone would kind of know. I guess like a better example would probably be something like Mortal Man
Mhm.
or Mother I Sober. Like
That's literally one of those like you don't play this around girls.
yeah, it's like
Like,
this is not for fun. This is like a story, you know. But that's interesting to me because like I think we just need it when we talk about like lyrics and everything. I just want to be able to specify like, oh, like this has that great flow, that great wordplay, and I wish there was like a single word that we could just like wrap it up
Man,
with, but there really doesn't seem one. Like maybe clever, because
It's tough.
because the other thing I really want to get across is that is not that this is vapid. It's like, no, this is a different kind of smart. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, it's not a lesser or better form of the genre. It's just different. It's a different kind of intelligence. It's a different kind of skill.
Right. And I was gonna say, like, even going off of that right there, like Lil Wayne is known. Lil Wayne was a straight A student. Like that man is extremely smart. It takes a certain level of skill and intelligence to make these kind of bars that he's making.
Yeah.
And like tying it back to what even opened this conversation, for me personally, and again, this is fully my own opinion. Everyone has their own right to believe what they want to. I do not think Travis Scott fits in a space within the genre that calls for him to be more towards the deeper, like Kendrick song. In my opinion, I feel like if I listen to a Travis Scott song and all of a sudden I'm sitting here questioning like my morals and values, it's gonna completely throw me off. Like, not saying that I wouldn't at least entertain it or I wouldn't be excited to see it a couple times just to see how it develops. But like, that's not why I listen to Travis Scott personally.
Okay, but that's a very, very valid point, right? But it
And
leaves
that's
you
only countering like your because the
but it
reason I
leaves
thought
you
about
open to no. There's a question I absolutely have to ask you,
okay.
right? Because okay, like that I understand. I understand. Like I'm listening to Travis Scott to get something completely different out of it than I am out of To Pimp a Butterfly or a Mad Villainy album or anything that's like has like a richer subtext to it. I get that. What I don't understand is he could be giving you 6 foot, 7 foot, a Millie style punchlines and that level of cleverness without all that substance, and he doesn't really do that either. And that's the direction I think he could put in. I don't think Travis should be more like Kendrick. I think Travis should be more like Lil Wayne.
Okay. Now that's another really good point. Because I remember your strongest point that you were making, and this was off the podcast, obviously, so we're bringing it to the audience. But the strongest point that you did make, rap as a genre is literally about the lyrics. Like that is 100% facts.
Yeah.
So you saying him being more like Lil Wayne, I agree. I fully agree that him producing or releasing songs that are more focused on creating that atmosphere, creating those metaphors, the wordplay.
Because that could play right over his style of beats, which is really what he's going for.
Absolutely.
He's going for energy, which is why I get it when you say like, I don't want to be meditating on what I believe. I get that. Like that makes sense to me, But it's just like it would just be incredible if he could give us like that level of energy he does with his beats and a level of wordplay that is fun and slick and clever. And that's what I just think. And
I have a follow-up.
Go ahead.
So we had a discussion, and I was shocked that you brought this to me. We were comparing, or not comparing, but we were discussing fair trade and sicko mode. And like which ones we think were better or whatever it might be. And we actually came to a surprisingly disagreement. But I feel like both of those songs have this 6 foot, 7 foot level of wordplay. And some of his best songs has that. Whether you look at Highest in the Room, 90210, Pick Up the Phone, Goosebumps.
I get that they're in the same vein. I don't think they are as rhythmic and clever as Lil Wayne. I definitely think like they're playing the same sport. That's for sure.
But it is
And
two different tiers. You're right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I do stand by the fact that even though I did not think CLB was that great of an album, and even Fair Trade I don't think is an especially incredible song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, his lyrics on that are definitely a cut above what he usually does.
So you would rather stay at that so whenever Utopia drops off, for example, you would want more towards a fair trade lyric consistently throughout the album than like a, let's say, what's a really vibey,
Through the
less
late night.
focused. Yeah, yeah, okay.
He's
We'll do that.
half of them are literally just Cuddy lyrics he's recycling.
Ooh, wow. Hold on a minute.
I don't know about half of them. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but
No. But I mean, that's a very interesting point.
yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it alone. I got to think about that.
Yeah. Wow, this was a walk.
Yes, we are not.
No, that was great though. Oh
We
my
didn't
god.
do that in the first take.
No, we did not do that. That was a fresh rant.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, what I
Let's.
think is very interesting is I think Pusha T is another one who is very much in that Lil Wayne style. Where like, he doesn't all do his songs have substance? Yes, they all have the same substance, and that is look how cool it is to sell cocaine for a living. Like, beyond that, he's just putting together incredible flows, punchlines, relentless delivery. Like, it's very much in that direction. And yeah, like that I would want Travis to aim towards that a little bit more.
Okay. We are in agreement now. We are now aligned. Because when I heard young enough to still sell dope, but old enough that I know better, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Like there's no substance there, but it's a very, it's clever. It's like, it's a play on like a common phrase from our culture, and,
right.
Even though there's nothing there to, it doesn't have this deeper meaning, you can tell that it's thoughtful.
Right. That's a, and of course, this is not something that you would use for quote unquote thoughtful, but like that's an Instagram caption. Like you would literally see that take place and hold its own value within our culture, whether it be on social media or wherever it might be.
Yeah.
Whereas through the late night may not.
Yeah.
But anyway, we carry on.
All right. So we got a whole bunch of singles coming out.
Yes.
Let's start with the layup ones. Pharrell Williams featuring 21 Savage and Tyler the Creator, Cash In, Cash Out. You sent me the sneak peek of this, and it sounds great.
No, yeah, it sounds fantastic. Like we said previously, it's kind of a weird mixture, but like 21 Savage just kind of pops in and out of random songs, and he just fits wherever. So I am ready. The trailer that I saw was it's a very broken down song. It's a simple beat, and they're like just spitting bars.
Yeah.
So, I'm ready for it.
I completely agree. Like this is, it does seem like an odd mix at first, but 21 is consistent. Like nowadays, I think he's very consistent. So
yes.
This is going to be something I listen to probably right at midnight, right when we're done with this.
Yeah.
Then we have Kid
Sorry,
Cudi.
Go ahead.
Oh, say that again.
No. I'm like sitting here now. We haven't gotten a pure 21 Savage album in like 4 years.
Yeah, most of the last one was What I Am or whatever.
Yeah, I Am Greater Than I Was.
Oh yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that. That's a long time.
Yeah, well, he might drop this year too. Who knows?
Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Moving on to Kid Cudi, Do What I Want.
Yes. So this single is attached to his Intergalactic show, the trailer of which launched. It's going to be on Netflix. Did you watch the trailer?
I watched part of the trailer. It gave me a similar vibe to Spider-Man, the metaverse, whatever it's called.
Enter the Spider Verse.
Very, yeah, very similar, like art style. I know you mentioned previously that the cast was amazing, so I kind of looked into that. So I'm very excited. What do you think?
Look, I'm very excited. This is definitely the kind of show I would want to just binge all at once. So I'm happy it's coming to Netflix. Uh, it has a very similar vibe to The Man on the Moon.
Right, which is exactly what we want.
It does look like Spider Verse, but you know, how could you not? That movie looks so good. Like
Yeah, it's amazing.
I struggle to think of a better looking movie.
At least art style, it's unique in its own right. I don't think I've seen another art style similar to that, and which is why it kind of stands out on its own. I know you kind of hinted at it being one of the better Spider-Man movies,
I think
so
it's the best Spider Man movie.
I just
The
that's a lot.
best one.
That is a lot. But I'll one thing I just want to point out, just because it is a hip hop podcast, some other names within the cast was Ty Dolla Sign, 070 Shake, Jane Smith, and Tiana Taylor. So I think this would be an amazing cast.
Yeah,
I'm really ready for it.
yeah. Comes out in
I think it makes.
September. Definitely something I'm hyped to see.
I will try to watch it all.
Yeah, we'll try. This will be a fun watch. I have a feeling that this is going to be a breeze to get through.
I would not be surprised if we do an episode on this.
Yeah.
We probably will.
All right. Well, there's an album coming out with it, which is what this single is a part of.
Which is the important part. So I'm very excited for
Yeah.
that.
All right. So next we got your favorite person of all time,
Okay.
Logic. Who you call the Vanilla Goat.
I would not ever.
Yeah. I remember it was early pandemic. You were saying
I'm
Mac
not even
Miller
gonna let you
who?
finish this.
You were
I'm not even gonna let you finish this. He has a song coming out featuring Wiz Khalifa called Breath Control, Breathe Control, something like that. The only reason I put this in here, well, there's two reasons. First, I know you're starting to grow on Wiz Khalifa again.
Yes, after the album you put out with Big Crit and that other guy, Full Court Press.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I'm pleased to see that like other hip hop fans like as well.
Yes.
It's not just like a me thing. Like I'm glad Full Court Press is pretty well received because it kind of felt like it was just going to be a me thing. But yeah,
I will say it kind of feel like it kind of came in and went. I haven't listened to it, but I do plan on it.
It didn't have the gravity of like a lot of other releases this year. That's totally fair. But I just have seen, especially with people like declaring a bunch of mediocre album of the year, cough, cough, Jack Harlow. I remember even people like putting Full Court Press as like one of the albums that it doesn't even come close to. I remember seeing that a bunch of times.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm hot on Wiz again, hotter than I have been in probably damn near a decade. But I've just never been a fan of Logic. I don't deny that the guy's talented.
Well, I know you're not a fan, which brings up the second reason I brought it up. Not really to piss you off, but I think it is interesting. June 17th, he is dropping a 30-song album.
I hate that.
30 songs.
That's a crime. That should be illegal.
I am in full agreement. Nobody should be releasing a 30-song album.
No one.
And he has retired twice, so I don't understand how he's still here, but he is. And
Yeah.
you're not going to. I'm going to have to suffer through 30 songs.
If I hear that it's overwhelmingly good, like if people are like, "Holy shit, this is incredible," like
Okay,
I would.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, if I heard that overwhelmingly, I would totally. Just because I'm not an idiot. Like if people I trust are like, "No, this is incredible," I'd be like, "Okay."
Okay.
Ugh. All right, so we got Lupe Fiasco dropping Galveston.
Yep. He's been, I won't say more in the news more lately, but he has been more active in the industry. He's been talking about becoming a professor and teaching a class. He has an album coming out this year. He's making a return. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he
I,
definitely is. He's been dropping singles all year. He's had Auto Roboto. He had 100 Chicago's. He has, he's been dropping stuff all year. I know he has an album dropping this month. I think towards the end of the month. So yeah, no, I'm excited, and it seems like this is gonna be one of his more approachable albums. I don't know so far as to say like a throwback to Food and Liquor and the Cool, but it definitely seems like it doesn't have that grand maximalist vision that the Drogas albums had.
I was gonna say because this is completely off of no evidence. It's just honestly what I feel like the direction that he might be going because we haven't gotten him in 4 years. Another person who hasn't dropped in 4 years. He dropped Drogas Wave in 2018. I honestly think whatever is going to be coming out next is going to be more similar to his earlier stuff.
I mean,
I
hell,
do not think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I love that.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously that'll be the goal, but I personally do not think we're not going to get an album like Lasers. Lasers is too commercialized and too radio. I do not think he has been anywhat somewhere on that energy or vibe recently from what I've seen. And I think Drogas would be too heavy for the public, like something of that level. I don't think it would grab the attention that it needs to. So I'm hoping that is something more familiar to his earlier work.
Yeah,
That's a good balance too.
I agree.
And then we have Mike Jones and Jid releasing a song called or a remix to the song Home.
Is Home a Jid
Yeah.
song?
I believe Home is actually a Mike Jones song, but let me double check right now. It's actually out already. It is a Mike Jones song or Mike Dime song. Why am I saying Jones? Jesus Christ. Mike Dime song with Jid. We haven't had Jid in Jesus Christ in a very long time. Another person that's been 4 years. What's up with this week? Why is there so many people not releasing things in like 4 years or solo projects in 4 years?
I don't
Yeah.
know who Mike Dimes is.
Okay, that is fair. He is not a household name, but he is definitely someone that is worth getting into. Um, I feel like look him up real quick because I think I sent you this album.
Mike Dimes?
Yes, look up Mike Downs real quick. Let me know if I sent you this album because he is one of those artists that I found randomly and was like, "This is important. He's going to blow up." And I sent it to you in Eddie. And there's very
I
like,
don't think so.
okay, I'm going to put you on Mike Dimes. I promise you'll be worth it.
I'll listen to
You know,
Home.
I was about to say, I do this very rarely. There's maybe like 4 or 5 artists I see you guys, and I'm like, okay, I strongly feel like they're going to blow up, and I think this is one of them. So I think he is important to bring up on the podcast, and of course, we've talked about Jid extensively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. I think it is already released; it's already out. Um, yeah, I can't really express that enough.
All right. And lastly, we have 2 Apple Music exclusive tracks, which is
Yes,
bizarre. You don't see a whole lot of streaming exclusives anymore.
I was very excited. Well, not excited. I do not like that it's on Apple Music only, but I was excited to bring this up on the podcast because we've had a whole episode about streaming services. How do you feel about this coming back?
I'm not a fan of exclusive content, or exclusive music. I mean, I guess if it's just a single, like it doesn't bum me out too bad because I'm sure his label is going to mandate it be available on YouTube so they can get the ad revenue. So I'll be able to hear it. Uh, Denzel Curry, like he's someone I like a lot, so I'm bummed.
You will find a way to listen to it eventually.
Yeah, and is it Six Black? Is it Six Black? Is it?
I think it's just black, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
So
But
yeah, so Black, like I'm a fan of him too. Like, so not super happy about this. I really hope this doesn't start again.
yeah, no, this is not ideal at all.
Please don't. Like, I'm all for like unique services, like the way Spotify does its playlist or Tidal does the master quality. I get it, you got to make money, but don't do exclusive music. No one likes that.
Okay, so this is another thing. Wow, we haven't talked about this in a minute, but I don't understand, how does this benefit anybody? Unless these contracts are huge, I don't understand how a random sample, or not a random sample, a random single could actually be worth a large enough contract where Apple Music is like, no, only play it here.
You know,
Like, it's just something that Apple Music reaches out to do. It's just something that the artist agent is reaching out to do. Because, like, Denzel Curry just dropped an album. Who
yeah.
cares if he's dropping one more single?
You know, part of me makes it feel like that's almost the reason why it's exclusive. Because how
Interesting.
much was this one single gonna gross? Like, how much was it gonna penetrate the fan base? How much was it going to just make just dropping it? You know, this at least, like, he's making money off the deal, and it gets him a little bit of PR. I
So it's
still don't.
guaranteed.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily like it, but the fact that it's a single to me makes more, especially a single like in a time period where like he's probably a bad time for him to release a single after dropping such a huge album. You
Yeah.
know, like that's just a little odd. That's just not how the industry works. So, yeah, I think it makes a little bit more sense that it's singles rather than whole project.
That I do align with, but I don't understand the reasoning or the justification of, I get it's a contract, it probably has guaranteed upfront money, which might, to be honest, how terrible streaming services pay their artists, it probably is more profitable upfront. But like, I just feel like there needs to be a give and take in terms of your negotiations. Like, I'm literally taking a whole class on negotiations right now for my master's degree. There's two values. There's going to be an economic value, and there's going to be like a subjective value that you can't really like measure. I feel like as an artist, you would want to have all of your fans
Yeah,
listen to whatever you are willing to put out with your name on it, which is a big deal in my opinion. Like, us making this podcast, we are not big at all, but my name's on this, so it's extremely important to me. I would want literally everybody to be able to listen to it if they're a fan.
yeah, yeah. Like that, I totally get with. It's just like it makes sense, like just as an artist to have like that. Yeah, you don't want any obstacles coming between you and someone listening to your stuff. You want it available on all platforms. Like that, I totally get. It just seems like I'm just looking at the realistically like why this happened because clearly this is where we wound up.
Right. And we got here for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
all I can say is I hope it doesn't happen again.
I mean, the last time I remember this happening, and to be fair, I wasn't super into streaming back then, but was the Frank Ocean project that was exclusively on Apple. That's the last time I remember it even being like
A
even
big
somewhat
thing.
important.
Yeah, that was the last time. Yeah, same here. Uh, and the biggest one was definitely Life of Pablo when it first came
Life of
out
Pablo was an exclusive.
to Title.
Wow. Now that I did not know at
Yeah, when
all.
it first dropped, it was exclusive to Title.
For how long do you know? That might be a tough
It was
question,
a
actually.
long time. It was like 6 months.
That is shocking.
Yeah,
You telling me hold on now. When did Life of Pablo come out then? There's no way I
February
didn't know.
2016.
I'm speechless. I am completely speechless. I did not know Life of Pablo came out as an exclusive to Title of all things.
Yeah.
I understand this is the album that is ever changing, and he changes it literally like once a year, basically. But like, I am shocked. Yeah.
So let's talk about seeing Pusha T in concert.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
finally made it to the
we're
concert.
here. We're here to the concert. So first off, let's just ask, like, How high was Pusha T on your list of artists you wanted to see? Like, as of this week when we made the decision, was he
I'm
someone
not
who you have
even.
been thinking about seeing? Was it someone who, like, it's kind of like if it's in front of your face, that's one thing?
I'm not even gonna lie. He wasn't on any list, and that's not even to mean like any disrespect to him, or not saying that he's not worthy. But I don't think I've ever just sat here and gone like, "Oh, I want to listen to Pusha T live," just because I don't really find his music to be a live experience previous to Tuesday. Obviously, you have the big names that we've discussed before, but I just, unless it was super cheap, I didn't really have a reason to go see Pusha T, which is why this just kind of lined up perfectly for me. How do you feel? Is this someone that you've been wanting to see for a while? Is this on any kind of list for you?
Well, upon reflection, like Pusha T is certainly like one of my favorite rappers. Like every time he
Okay.
drops an album, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's extremely good.
Yeah.
But like, maybe because his stuff is so consistently like in that very good, like 8 out of 10, like always just like hits the spot, but it doesn't really have all that much depth to it. There's not a whole lot to parse together. I think it reward like this album, It's Almost Dry and Daytona. Like I think they're both just like extremely fun and they reward multiple listens by being just that fun. But yeah, like he's someone who kind of slips through the cracks. But let me tell you, I'm happy I did see him.
Oh yeah, I have no regrets at all.
Yeah,
I'm extremely happy. It was a split decision for both of us. I literally texted you and I was like, "Is 35 too much?" And he was like, "No, do it." And I was like, "All right, cool, we're in." And I do not regret it at all. Like I said, going into it, nothing against him at all, but he just doesn't have that party atmosphere. And when I listen to the songs, at least on this album in Daytona, I know the choruses and I know most of the verses, but there's pretty good pieces that like I legit didn't follow along, but I still enjoyed like the performance, seeing him live and
yeah,
everything. He
yeah,
brings
because
the energy.
he brings the energy, right? And I think that was the thing I really liked about this set was just it was very classic. It was one guy with a mic just controlling a room with his energy,
Yeah.
right? And he even did like he did do the thing where a lot of that some rappers do where they play the music with the lyrics behind him, but it wasn't overwhelming. It was very clear that he was giving a solid performance or a very good performance.
Hmm.
So I have no perform issues with that. But we got
It's interesting that you. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's just interesting that you bring that up because I did consider that as well. Like how much was pre-recorded, if that's the right term,
Yeah,
and how much was him actually like on stage rapping. It was pretty difficult to tell the difference,
yeah, it
and I
really
was like
was.
very surprised, and it's almost like it was a good thing.
Well, his voice was certainly way on top of the mix.
Hmm.
So it was very easy for him to drown out like the lyrics he was saying. They just give him a little extra oomph. Because to me, like it was only in like the rare like the transitions and stuff where you could really even hear it. Like when he was performing, it was just you just heard him right there. Which
Hmm.
that's really stellar like audio design.
That is another thing that stood out to me. And maybe it's just because I haven't been to a concert because of COVID in I don't know years now. But
With the J Cole like 6 months ago.
yeah, but that was like in a huge like United Center.
Yeah,
It was a different feel.
yeah, it definitely
But
was.
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean, and that's my mistake. I did forget about that completely. But it just was an entirely different feel when you're in a general admissions area where
Yeah,
like it's just kind of that crowd effect. It's very different from being in the stands at the United Center.
I
But
definitely agree
even
with that.
right, it that alone, man, I miss like that crowd effect, like feeling the bass like literally go through your body.
Yeah,
I definitely missed it, and the audio mixing was phenomenal.
yeah. Oh, the acoustics were crazy, crazy
Yeah,
good. I was
So good.
yeah. So just maybe we talk about the venue for a second. Like,
Yeah.
it was at Radius Chicago, and I've been to like the vast majority of the big venues in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite's definitely the Metro, but I've always had a place in my heart for the Aragon Ballroom because I've seen so many shows there.
Yep. That's the big one
Yeah,
for me.
and this like it's certainly like in terms of size. Like I was explaining it to Jeff, I'm like, in terms of like size and what kind of crowd you can get in there, it's very similar to the Aragon.
It was very, very misleading for me.
Yeah,
I did not realize because I think it's because we got there early
yeah,
and like there was not a big crowd. But I was talking to Jasper, my coworker, who talked me into this and who we saw there. It was confirmed 4,000 people there.
damn,
Yeah, I did not realize how huge it was.
yeah. Oh yeah, no,
And
it was a full club.
it is now one of my more I would go to this place over a lot of different like venues in my opinion because just the way it was set up, it was perfect lighting, the audio mix was perfect,
Yeah,
and even like the quote unquote amenities, like everything open layout.
super open
There's
layout,
bars all left and right of the crowd. You can
super
easily
easy.
accessible.
Yeah, super easy to like go to the bathroom and like come back.
Yep.
At least we had a really easy time like getting in and out of the crowd. You know,
Everyone was cool.
yeah,
There was not a crazy line for merch. Everybody was respectable.
yeah,
They sold food there, which was insane to me. I've never been to a venue that sold food.
yeah,
Like
yeah. They had a full
it
kitchen.
was very nice. Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, it was. It's definitely a place where I was telling Jeff like you got to come check this place out because it's only been open for 4 years.
Yeah, I did not
And
realize like how new it was.
yeah, and I had been there before for my office Christmas party, so I saw it in a very different context.
Hmm.
But seeing it at a concert, it's like, wow, this really has like the right vibe. Because like the entire time, I couldn't help but think like, you ever watch like a cheesy movie that takes place in like the '70s about the origin of hip hop, where they're just performing in like a warehouse.
Wow,
It's
that is
like,
very specific and
yeah,
accurate.
it's like that, but like, you know, it has all the amenities you would need for like actually good show.
Hmm.
So the openers, did you get the name of the DJ who opened?
I did not get the name of the DJ,
That
unfortunately,
he never said it. Like we were waiting for.
which makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
But I mean, it is what it is.
but yeah. So it started off. There was a local DJ, and it was the doors opened at 7. No one had any idea when he was going to go on, and right around 8, a DJ went up and he just started playing songs. Just it wasn't like a mix or anything. He was just had good taste in hip hop songs, and he just played good hip hop songs.
Hmm.
And like
And
it
then it
was,
seemed like
and even that, like with a really good crowd, is just a lot of fun.
right. It was very like crowd pleasing. You can tell he knew exactly what to play with in the demographic. Although it is easy for Chicago, what I noticed it was very Kanye heavy, just like really drill music influenced. But it's hard to mess up those songs as long as you can get a good list or just just songs that are familiar or easy to sing. But then it seemed like a second DJ came on. 'Cause I noticed like it changed DJs and the second one came on and like he literally said he was like, I'm filling out the crowd. And he played like almost a rock song. And then no one reacted and he changed it back to hip hop. So I just got like really confused. And it just went back to like all like Kanye music almost.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, they were just there to maintain the vibes, and that's the thing. Like when you have a crowd that good, like even just playing the studio versions
Right.
were really quite good. Now, then there was a rapper, and
Yes.
I have his Twitter account open. His name is Hate Sunny.
Hate Sunny. Okay.
Yeah, and he had to say HL. I don't know what that is. Yeah,
I'll take a
and
quick.
he. So I'm just gonna say this: his vocals were very reverbed, and they were kind of hard to tell, what he was saying. The vibe and the energy he brought to stage, fucking incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, fantastic energy, dude. I would, if you're listening, and we might send you this episode, I'd happy to go see you again in concert. It was just
Oh yeah.
very reverb heavy, but dude knew how to command the stage. So, look, I haven't dived deep into your music yet, but I will be doing it.
I was gonna say honestly, what I noticed personally, the only difference or the only thing that would make him, I guess, not as successful as big as another opener that we've seen in the past that are like more mainstream, people just didn't know the lyrics. Like they
Yeah,
were actually good songs. Like I was
yeah.
listening and I was vibing with them. I was like, okay, this is actually a good song. And they're like, I just don't understand everything, so it's kind of hard to get in tune.
I definitely. It's always interesting when your first introduction to an artist is seeing them live.
Hmm.
But I have some of their music pulled up now. It seems mostly to be on SoundCloud.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So
simple.
I'll be diving into it. It was good, man. I'm hoping to see him again. I'd
Yeah,
like to see him
would
in a situation where I can see him really shine.
I have a question now
Yes.
because you kind of brought it up, and now I'm just curious. What's an artist that you saw live? Who's an artist that you saw live that you eventually like fell in love with? Like you saw them live first.
Oh, this is cheating. It's
Oh,
it's
who is it?
it's Kendrick Lamar.
There's no shot you listen to Kendrick Lamar live first.
Yeah,
What?
because it was
What
like
was?
right when it was in 2012. It was before Good Kid, Mad City came out. I think it was right after Section 80.
Wow.
So like,
Okay.
and look, well, you can go back check the records. Like I got into it after Good Kid, Mad City. So that was seeing him on that tour. Like I'm sure Jeff had probably played a song for him while we were driving or something, because like people knew about him. He wasn't like
No.
he was not like the guy. No disrespect to Sonny, but he was not like a guy who I had never heard of. But yeah,
Correct.
like my first impression of him was seeing him live. Same with Schoolboy Q.
Jesus Christ, Brandon.
Yeah,
Okay, you win.
yeah,
Never mind.
yeah. Checkmate.
Mine,
Knight
mine
to
is
Knight to
no
V7.
way. Mine was like 21 Pilots. I hate you. You beat me significantly.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
listened to 21's or not 21. Jesus Christ. I listened to 21 Pilots like at Lala randomly, and I was like, okay, they're actually pretty decent. I went back and listened to all their music. Mine was not Kendrick Lamar and Schoolboy Q. I hate you.
yeah. That was that. Yeah.
All right, well, never mind.
All right. So we're at the show. Let's get to it. Let's talk about how Pusha T was, and like we talked about it a bit, but he brought energy.
Mm-hmm. I
You
think
know,
his stage presence was absolutely
fantastic.
phenomenal. Whether it be how he controlled the actual fans or the crowd, whether it be like the actual performance of the lyrics. One thing that stood out to me that I think gets overlooked very often is just the background to the stage. Like
Oh,
some of
totally.
the images that he had was so dope, and it
And like,
matches perfectly with the vibe.
dude, the actual things he had were fucking crazy.
Yes,
They were like transparent windows that had like
I
lights running through them. So
had
like,
never seen anything like it.
yeah, I've never seen anything like it, which was crazy because like in a venue like this where it's like a club with 4,000 people and not like like the next size up, you're talking like J. Cole at the United Center, and the next size up from that, you're talking about Kanye West at Soldier Field, right?
Yeah,
So it's comparatively quite small. So to see like that level of like visual orientation or visual like stagecraft like up close was like crazy.
yeah. I really hope to see more stuff like that. It's like the visuals alone and
Yeah.
the images that he puts up there is perfectly aligned with the songs and the vibe of the album.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it extensively, but like it puts you in a place where it almost like, of course not actually, but like you feel like you're a part of the culture.
No, definitely.
Obviously, he doesn't. I don't know if he still sells cocaine, but you you feel like you're a part of that. You feel like you're in a Godfather movie almost.
Yeah, no, he's using every part of the animal to tell the story. He's using the
Mhm.
lights, he's using the effect on stage, he's using his enunciation and his delivery. It's something else, man. Now, I do have a question for you though,
Okay.
right? So, let's, we're going to do another number line, another spectrum, right? And on one end, you have Pusha T with like really dope effects, really dope lights, performing to 4,000 people, having to basically command that crowd by himself, right? The effects they're there to support him.
Okay.
On the other end, you have the Donda experience, where there's no live performance. You're just listening to the album, but
Hmm.
the stagecraft of it all becomes what you're there to see,
Man
right?
built a house in the middle of the stadium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which which vibe do you prefer?
Ooh.
And
Oh.
like, J. Cole clearly fits on that spectrum, but I would say the show we saw him at, I'd say it's closer to the Donda show than it was to this. Because he had like that hoop
It's
and he
such a
was
mass, right?
yeah.
It's a huge performance, huge stadium, thousands and
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of people.
And you can see how
Um,
it's not quite all the way in that extreme. Like even to where like like the Kanye Life of Pablo thing with the floating stage, or even the Yeezus tour, which is in the UC. Like, it's not quite all the way there, but it's on that spectrum.
mhm. About to say we're not getting a roller coaster in the middle of the stage like
Yeah.
Travis, but like still have, like you said, a huge flaming hoop
Yeah.
in the building. Um, Personally, I'm gonna be honest. I would take the Pusha T experience.
Yeah.
I and we were gonna do. I don't know. We might still do a podcast episode on the whole Don experience that we had with Jeff.
Oh, we
But
definitely will be. There's no
yeah,
way
yeah.
we can't. Yeah.
But like
At this point, we'll
the
probably do it at the 1 year.
yeah, honestly, that would work. The experience. Don't get me wrong. Dope experience. We'll get to breaking down the Don experience when we get to that episode. But having it not be live music was a huge takeaway for me.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of, I won't say it ruined the experience, but it's not what I expected. When I was going there, I was expecting a concert and just hearing basically audio files of incomplete songs playing in Soldier Field. It's dope because you don't listen, you haven't heard the music before. You have these big projectors with Bible verses and all this random stuff in a house in the middle of your home football team stadium. But even still, it took away from the effect because you just have Kanye walking around this dirt mound, just like half dancing, half like standing around with the baby
Yeah.
and other random stuff.
Yeah.
So I would definitely take Pusha T. Although I'll get to this later, I do wish there were guests, but I would take Pusha T being 40, 50 feet in front of me on the stage,
Yeah.
actually rapping.
Yeah. No, I think I'd like if we didn't get too hung up on Donda because I think that's like an extreme one. You know,
Mm,
uh, like the Childish Gambino set I saw at Lollapalooza in 2019. Like that was a live performance and like a really really good performance too, but it had like a similar level of theatricality. So like I want to get that across too. That I'm not necessarily saying like at the expense of the performance, just like the nature of it themselves. One feels like a hometown hip hop show on steroids because it's one of the top rappers in the game, and one feels almost like a Broadway production. And I say that in like the highest compliment I can because it's an
I,
extension of art.
Well, I mean, what do you think? What are you leaning
Personally, I'm
towards?
on the same side as you. Like I like a very direct, stripped down, basic show. Like let me see the music. Don't get me wrong. Like certain artists, like I want to see the grand stagecraft. I think Childish Gambino is like the example of it. And look, we already talked about him. 21 Savage, right? I saw him at
Hmm.
Lala, and he was just on stage, very similar to Pusha T. He was not very good.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that.
And
Okay.
then we saw him at J. Cole, and he had a little bit more theatricality, and it actually made his performance better. Like, so I think both have their merits, obviously, but I'm on the same side as you.
I guess I should ask then. What made the difference
I,
between the first time and second time you saw 21?
I think it's that level of theatricality.
Okay.
I
Like
think
it seemed like you cared.
I think because like there were all these things on the stage that could support not Pusha, 21 in the show, he was able to. It wasn't as high pressure for him.
Okay.
That and his vocal delivery was just so much better.
Okay.
And I don't know how much the type of show it is kind of helps with that. That sounds just more like it being 3 years later, and
I mean, he could have developed more as an
yeah,
artist.
it could just be that too. Like that's certainly a factor. But like
Mhm.
I've seen certain. He's probably the best example of the artist I've seen who has done both. I saw him do like, hey, I'm just gonna come out here and like try and control the crowd by myself. And then I've seen the more grand production version. But yeah, no, I'm on your side. When I saw Lupe Fiasco, Vic Mensa, and Run the Jewels, they all kind of did that style of show, just on way bigger stages. And like, to see one guy with a mic or two guys with a mic, like control a crowd of 15,000, like that's something,
Okay.
you
I
know.
follow.
But then again, like we talk about someone like Travis, like he's gonna want a stage show, and like he's gonna need to because if he's just sitting in front and like rapping his songs, like how I mean, he has a lot of energy on stage, so like I give him credit, but he was probably gonna want that extra layer to it.
Yeah, I got you.
So, what did you think of the
And
crowd? We've been in a lot of different crowds.
this was, I was surprised.
This was
Like
the
I was
most chill
shocked.
crowd by far.
Yes, I
Chill.
was
No one,
shocked.
no one yelling. We didn't see any. I don't think I saw a single security guard pass the door.
There was no fights that
Yeah,
at least around us. There was no fights. There was no arguments. There was no pushing.
yeah. There was.
Um, it was extremely mixed demographic, which was shocking.
Yeah,
And when I say mixed demographic, I mean gender, race, everything.
everything.
Like
Yeah,
I
every
was,
kind of person. You saw. You could see the people coming in from the north side, from the art schools, like
hmm
me. Uh, you saw people coming from that side of town. Like it was, yeah, it felt real and like every different kind of way.
yeah, it was extremely refreshing. And he actually joked about it on stage because like one thing that he pointed out, I remember it was kind of later on in the performance. He was saying like, "Oh, like they said girls don't like watching Pusha T," and then he's like, "Well, girls like watching Money," and he's like laughing. It is obviously like he's up there like making a performance or whatever, but like coming into it, I'm gonna be honest, I did not expect to see a lot of girls,
There
and I
was a
saw
ton of girls. Yeah,
a ton of girls, and like everyone was super chill. Everyone had a good vibe. Like next to me, somebody like got lost from their group, and I was like, "Yo, you good?" And she was like, "I'm not gonna find them." I was like, "Yeah, I know. You might as well enjoy the show." It's
yeah,
like everyone's like super laid back and chill, super friendly. I didn't see anyone like harassing people,
no,
no fights. Like it was just a really good crowd. It
yeah.
was really refreshing.
I didn't see any security. I didn't see any needs for security. It was some dude lent us his one hitter. Uh,
Yeah, I was about to say, dude, we were like giving away our food like to people, and everyone was so cool about it.
dude, it was very chill. Like it was, as far as the crowd goes, one of the best.
Yes.
Like I've made friends in the pit before, but like those that has come at a cost. There were
And
there were also
that's the
people
other,
like
That's the other thing. There's even like I won't say mosh pits because I don't think it really
Yeah,
went as
there
successful.
were
But
full
like
fledged
they
pits.
formed it. Yeah, I was about to say they formed the pits
Yeah,
and like they weren't going crazy. But like even
they were
in the
hardcore, but
pits, they
just
were
not.
dope.
Yeah, but they were respectful. That's just
Exactly.
something, I come from. When I was 18, 19, I would go to like a lot of local punk and hardcore shows. And,
Okay.
the pits weren't that big, but they were a lot more vicious. But like a mosh pit is quite literally like a safe space. Like it's supposed to be a place where like if you fall or you get hurt, like people are gonna help you because you're there to get your aggression out in a safe way.
Hmm.
And like you could see that ethos in this show too, because people were looking out for each other. People people went hard in the pit. Not gonna lie, like it was kind of stunning. Uh, but
But I'm saying the people in the front, I did see the people in the front go crazy.
yeah, no,
But at least where we were, they weren't like too crazy.
the people who wanted to go crazy were going crazy. The thing that was good is that no one who didn't want to go crazy was going crazy.
Yeah, that that is very true. Because even we weren't even like I would say we were a little bit past halfway up, and we were like kind of more towards the front. And even still, like there were people like right before he came on. There was at least 4 or 5 guys that like tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, "Bro, we trying to go crazy," and I was like, "Just go, just go to the front. You're good." So like everyone was super chill and like knew where they were supposed to be.
Definitely, it was a great vibe. It was a absolutely fantastic vibe for a show. Like, uh, I've been around some good vibes, but this one, top tier one.
I
Now,
think. Yeah, go ahead.
no. Finish what you were gonna say because I'm gonna try and move us on.
Okay, I was just gonna say, and I don't think it made as much as an impact. It's more just like a subconscious thing. But do you think you'll see more of a control vibe since we talked about Astroworld? I don't think that was in the back of everyone's mind there to act appropriately because of Astroworld. But do you think there's going to be a stronger impact where you see that kind of vibe even at the 20, 30,000 people concerts?
I don't know. I mean, that'd be great because I gotta be honest. Like, I've been in pits that could have very easily become Astro World, and look, those shows as a whole are great. But like, how do I put this? Like, if I could see Run the Jewels and have it be as chill as the Pusha T show, I would rather do that. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
So like, I think
Yeah.
this kind of vibe is a net positive. But I don't think it had anything to do with the Astro World thing going on because it just seemed it didn't seem at all like people were controlling how they were acting at
Yeah.
the same time. Like it seemed very natural. It just didn't
Okay.
seem like people were,
Sitting there thinking like,
oh, we should be calm and everything. No, it was just kind of everyone was just kind of on that more respectful vibey tip.
about to say it was a Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah, it was a Tuesday, so
Like no one's trying to, no one's trying to
look,
go crazy.
dude's got 4,000 people to come out
Yep.
on a Tuesday.
So I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
No respect.
So, what did you think of the song selection? Were there any songs that you really wanted that you didn't get?
To be honest, I did not have any preference in terms of what I definitely wanted to hear. I was more, at least from this album, I should say, because it's almost dry tour. Like it's supposed to be about the
Yeah,
album.
exactly. Yeah, it's the Almost Dry tour. You're supposed to have the album
Right,
first and foremost. 100%.
right.
Couldn't agree more.
I The beauty of this album is that, in my opinion, it's short and simple and it's sweet and the songs easily flow into each other. So I wanted to hear all of it. There was
And we
no
damn
like,
near did.
yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure, if not all 12, at least 10,
Yeah. And we also heard most of Daytona.
which is what I was going to get into. I wanted to hear his biggest hits, which we got.
Yeah, we got
We
all of his
actually
biggest
got
hits.
all of his big hits.
He was even doing his feet like at the end of this performance. Like it
Yeah,
didn't
all the last songs.
Yeah. He it didn't feel like he was on stage for a super long time, But by the end of it, I'm like, how many? You're going back to clips to find more songs,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Yep.
guess the only real criticism is if you were a very hardcore like Pusha T fan for like the My Name Is My Name and what was the other album that came out at that time? I have it right
Let
here.
me take a look real quick. Because I actually was looking for My Name Is My Name, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
Fear of God 2, King Push, Wrath of Cain. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at for like those, like there wasn't anything from those
Yeah.
albums besides
Yeah.
Numbers on the Board.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did play that,
So I
actually.
guess like if you did really want like old like Pusha T, nah, didn't get any of
I'm
that
about to say,
really.
you're not going to really get it.
But I think the song selection was crazy. I was hyped that he started with Let the Smokers, what's it called?
One more time.
The first song. Let the
Talking about
Smokers Shine the
Bremerton?
Coupe.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the first song he opened with.
Oh, I thought you meant the first song on the album. I'm
Oh
so
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
my bad.
No, no, you're good. You're good. For me personally, and I've kind of talked to you about this off the podcast, this album, and I'm so stupid how I look at the structure of albums. The introduction to all of the songs on this album is some of the best ones out of any album I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
Just like how some of the songs start off. You're supposed to put 50,000 in the safe and lock the or lose the combination. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Like all of those is like, bruh. As soon as I heard it, like I would be rejuvenated. Like I'm hyped.
Yeah. Oh, they hit. And he did a great job bringing the energy from this album.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah, no, he did like damn near. I think he did like every song but Open Air.
No, yeah, that's what I said. It's 12 songs on the album. He did at least 10.
Yeah. Yeah, he did like pretty much all of them. So, like, and that's really the best feeling. Because, like, you go see someone like J. Cole, like, he has such a discography.
Right.
Like,
About to say.
I didn't get to hear my favorite song. But, like, this, he,
Mhm.
like, hit everything. Even doing his features, he did Move That Dope. He did Runaway. He did New God Flow. Which I forget how
He did
much of
don't like.
huh? Yeah, he did
He
Don't
did
Like.
don't like.
He just does
Like,
the intro to that song.
yeah, it was banging.
Yeah.
Like we get so hyped just to listen to that little part of the song,
Yeah. Now, let's talk about because you brought up wanting to have seen a guest.
bro. And I get it. You go for the artist,
Yeah,
and like
you can't expect that.
right. I'm not like diminishing anything. I'm not taking away from the experience, but it is like there is no other feeling, and I've talked about this before. The feeling of being at a concert and another guest comes out, especially like a big name guest. In my opinion, there's no better feeling, especially at a concert. There's no peak feeling to see like a surprise big artist come out and perform their part of the song, because like you just get to see like how they collab in person. Because like you get an idea in the studio how the energy is or how they could be friends or whatever. But like when you see it live and they're building off each other, like it is one of the best experiences you can have at a concert, in my opinion. And so there was a couple songs he could have brought out. Little Uzi Vert, Don Toliver, like even obviously I don't think he would bring out Jay Z, but like even he could bring out like Jay Z, Pharrell Williams, like Kanye West. There's so many names that could have came out, and like it seemed like it was leading up to the point, and then it didn't come, and I'm like, okay, I can't be upset, but it's still like, man, that would have been nice. That would
Yeah,
have
I
been very.
mean, especially something this focused and him doing so many songs that are other people's songs. I would forgive you for saying that he was begging for that comparison.
Mhm.
But me, like, I have the policy of just like, don't expect anyone who's not on the billing.
Which
And
is fair.
yeah, but yeah, like, look, how would I have felt if Chief Keef came out? My
Bruh.
guy, we would not have made it home, or I would have committed every crime. I would have gone into crime overdrive. I would have started. I would have.
No one's making it home tonight.
I would have sold some crack. I'd file some serial numbers off of guns. I would break
Brandon,
into some cars. It's great.
Brandon, this is going public.
In a magical fantasy world where Pusha T
Obviously,
brought out
obviously.
Chief Keef, those would be the things I would do, and only under those circumstances would I do those things.
Arson's on the table,
Yeah.
robbery's on the table, murder. No, I'm just
In that
like,
one specific case, not all the other times. Wink. Like,
obviously.
so
But
let's just round it up then. What's your take on seeing Pusha T live, seeing this particular artist?
I am extremely satisfied that I went.
Yeah,
If he comes out with another album, I think we can both agree that it's going to be good. I would go see him again.
yeah. Like if he did put out a snooze fest, like I'd probably be fine skipping it.
You're right.
But
like knowing
he just
him,
doesn't.
he's very consistent.
But he just doesn't do that. Like
Exactly.
So yeah, like it probably won't be many years.
Mhm.
And
So-
yeah, he's definitely an artist I want to see again. Like, look, I would love to see him do like a bigger venue.
It will be a lot more exciting. Not
Yeah.
that it wasn't exciting, but I think that it's just the space you get.
Yeah,
Because sometimes, don't get me wrong, the venue was amazing. I
Yeah.
love the venue, but you're inside of four walls.
yeah,
If you're out at Grant Park or whatever, like, bruh,
you could just do so much.
it's just
Yeah.
such an impact. The
But then
energy
it-
from the crowd.
But then
adds.
again, like there is part of me that just really like that he was able to focus on like what it's all about, and that's the rapping.
Yeah, that is true.
So yeah, I mean, I got no complaints, my guy.
Nah, not at all.
Not at all. This was I'm going to a ton of concerts this summer, so this was a good kickoff.
I was going to say this is going to be the first of many. This has inspired me to go see a lot more
Yeah,
because we've been kind of up against, but like no, we're going to nail down. We're seeing a bunch of concerts.
yeah. Especially like trying to get out and seeing more local artists. So, with that being said, like if you are listening to this and you know like local shows, you have local artists you think we should check out, hit us up.
Please.
Send it to us. Send us an email. DM either of us.
Go. Yes,
We're trying to check this stuff out. So, yeah, I think it's real fun to talk about these huge fucking productions, but I think it'd be even cooler to be able to talk about like someone who lives, in the same fucking zoning district as me.
Same culture, grew up in the same area.
Yeah.
It'll be really, really nice.
Oof. Purvis,
Sheesh.
let's do our recommendations.
Ooh, you are going to have to go first, my friend.
All right, yeah, mine are ready.
All right.
Let me pull them up. Okay, so I got three. I got three like I always do. I got one very current song. I have one that's a throwback, and I have one that's a different genre. So my first one, I'm just gonna say it. This is a song we've already talked about on the podcast, like not in depth, but "Ain't No Way" by Denzel Curry, Jid, Black, Six Lack, and Rico Nasty. Like every time I listen to this song, I'm like, I can't believe they got the four best artists of that generation in a room and they came out with something this good. Right? Like, and I feel like just being friends with you and doing this podcast, listening to the Dreamville stuff has already like gotten me on the Jid train. I'm fully on the Jid train. But just seeing him like interact with just these artists, like he's the one where it's like, oh, he is at this caliber.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I agree with that. My first one, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I believe it's called Acne. The song is by, I'm just going to spell it. It's EMAWK. It was actually, I believe it started off as a TikTok song that only contained the ending of the song, but it's actually like a 6-minute song that is phenomenal. It has one of the smoothest beats I've heard in a very long time, and I cannot recommend it more. but it's called Acne ACHE by Emok or something like that, and it's really really good.
All right.
All right, let's go for the second.
All right, my second one. All right, we're gonna throw it back to the '90s a little bit.
Okay.
I'm recommending "Twins" by Big Pun and Fat Joe. Man, this thing is
Wow.
so '90s New York, it fucking hurts. But you know what?
Wow.
I got look, a vibe's a vibe, and '90s New York, fuck, dude, that's a good ass vibe.
I'm not mad at you at all,
You know,
but
like
it's definitely like, oh wow, I did not expect that.
no, dude, like. So this is the second song. Okay, this is the second song that's going to tie back to the wedding I was at last weekend. Last weekend was my sister's wedding.
Oh,
They didn't play
okay.
this song. They played like some of like the Biggie songs everyone knows because this was a very Caucasian wedding.
You can say it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But like, they're good songs. Like they're
Yeah.
So I was kind of like itching for that, and I put on some playlists. And I found this one, and I'm like, oh my god, this really slaps. Like
Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard this specific song like until this week, and man, it's really fucking good.
Oh, I'm gonna go back and listen to it. I mean, obviously, I know the artist, and that is like
Yeah,
standing out right away. Like, of course, Fat Joe and Big Pun.
yeah,
But I don't know if I know the song, but I'm
yeah.
excited.
Oh, you will. It's one of those songs that like when you hear it, you know it.
Okay, I'll follow. My second song. Did I ever talk to you about Aaron May
No.
by chance? Okay. Aaron May is an upcoming artist. He dropped an album in 2019 called Chase. It is short and simple. It is under 30 minutes. It's 11 songs. It's one of the most slept on songs, I think, in my opinion. But it is a song called Make It by Aaron May that I cannot recommend more. It's like such a sleeper.
All right. That's a good one. All right. I'm going to recommend this song. This song is extremely popular for its genre, but its genre is probably the farthest thing from hip hop.
Okay.
And this is going to be a bit of a story because this is a fun story. Uh, the song is "Downfall of Us All" by A Day to Remember, which is like a pop punk song. And this has two fun stories in it, and that is last week my sister got married, and her bridesmaids abducted my girlfriend, and they gave her lots and lots of shots because she was not driving home the day of the wedding, the day of the rehearsal dinner, right? So we get in my car, and it's starting to hit her, and this song pops on and pops up, and she is a scene kid at heart. And she just sings this at the top of her lungs as we drive home, and it was just so much fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Oh, no, but there's a story within the story.
Okay.
Right? Because I also have an emotional connection to the song because of my sister. Probably like the third or fourth concert I ever went to was a tour that had Rise Against and A Day to Remember on it, right? And it was really cool because me and all my friends were super hyped to go see Rise Against. And Brianna and all her friends went to go see A Day to Remember. And so we're there, we're watching it. And before we leave, my mom pulls 20-year-old me and Jeff aside, and they're like, just keep an eye on your sister. She's like 18, And like, we're like, obvious, happy to
Right.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the opener is finished. Rise Against is about to come out. And I'm standing next to Jeff, and Jeff goes, do you want to go find Brianna? And I go, yeah. And at that exact moment, she crowd surfs in front of us, probably less than 10 feet in front of our noses. And then we just go, all right, found Brianna. Don't got to do that anymore.
That was easy.
And like this song was like,
yeah,
and this song was like one of the songs they were touring, that one.
Okay.
So, it was
give me the title one more time.
The song is Downfall of Us All by A Day to Remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just wanted to make sure we got the name because sometimes we say the name and it just kind of flies by on the podcast, and I was like, I want to make sure people hear the actual title.
Write down yours. So
no, I actually I mean, I don't care if this is cut or not. But I made a second doc, and I'm keeping track of all the songs you ever recommend.
Oof.
But I will close it out. And this is actually going to be a little teaser to our next episode. I don't think you care if I announce this now for whoever's going to listen to it.
No, go ahead.
But next week, I'm going to be in Jamaica with my family. It's going to be super dope. But I will still be recording. And I plan on bringing my brother on. I'm going to bring on my brother. And I think it's going to be his first time on the podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Isaac Funches, our number one fan.
Actually, though.
Yeah, like he is the demographic. Our number one
fan. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure he's listening to every episode. So shout out to him.
Yeah, dude, he messaged me last week. Like, this is about Vic, and he sent me the video, the Down on My Luck. He's like, dude, this is where I got on Vic. And I'm like, oh man, that was a good era. Like,
that is sick. Okay, bet. That's super dope to hear.
Yeah.
But kind of teasing into that, I think next week is going to be one of the bigger topics. We're going to discuss Drake and his impact on the genre and streaming in general, because he is one of a kind. And we plan on speaking about 3 of his albums in particular that are very heavy within streaming, and how we're going to do a little twist to it. We're going to play a little game.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a fun episode.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'm really excited for this. Screw it, I'll just say it because I'm that excited. We're going to take 3 albums, his most streamed, or when he became heavy on streaming. We are going to take the albums More Life, Scorpion, and also now I'm blanking out.
Is it Views?
Yes, we're going to take Views, More Life, and Scorpion, 2016, 2017, 2018. Each one of these albums has 20 songs or more, which is ridiculous.
Can I call an audible?
Yeah.
We should do Views, Scorpion, and CLB.
I'm still in.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, just because what's it called? More Life is technically a playlist. And also, I'm not going to sit through that to do this episode. So we'll do Views, Scorpion, and CLB. Like, I'll sit through CLB. Like,
we will do Views, Scorpion, CLB. But what we're going to do, basically, we're going to turn it into an ideal album.
Yeah.
So, like, we've talked about it before. I think a perfect album is 14 songs, don't go over an hour. All 3 of these albums are more than that. So we're going to find... Each one of us are going to design our own perfect albums and what songs we would cut and why. I'm super excited.
Yeah. I have a playlist that I've made. Purvis can get it from my Spotify, and we can make we'll put it on next week's episode so it's relevant. But it was basically like, it came from my love of that Scorpion album, where it was like, man, there's a great album in this. Unfortunately, there's also a very mediocre album also in this.
Yes. And honestly, I got the idea from you.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you came up with this, 3-4 years ago, and now we're applying it.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun. This one's going to require a little bit more out of us, so I'm happy we're putting it right now. But yeah, so if you like Drake,
be excited. But I guess wrapping up why I even brought it up. My last song is Jaded on the Scorpion album. It is so good.
It's a good song.
So good. Oh my God. I've had a lot of fun listening to Drake recently. So I am very excited to kind of get your take on the correct album that should have released.
All right. Yeah, this will be fun. Because I definitely think all 3 of those albums, you got to just carve out the fat.
You got to carve it out.
It's like watching... I've gotten really into like cooking shows, and it's like it's like if you don't butcher a steak right, it won't cook right, and like while you're eating it, this bad steak, you'll see the parts that you would have had to like just cut out, and like then the fat would have rendered right, and like is that it was a put together wrong.
It was. I mean, and it's gonna kind of tie in. Wow. We are already talking about the next week. We need to stop talking.
Yeah.
I was going to say a whole nother point about Drake, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it next week. All right. Tune in next week for more Drake.
Here we go.
Here we go. Good night, everybody.